Welcome to another episode of Natural Mojo. And as you can see, you can't get any more natural than this. I'm in the beautiful area of Deep Cove on the mainland of Vancouver, just a little bit outside the city limits. It's a beautiful place to be. So if you ever can find yourself here, remember that Pamela said you must get here and stay a while. Anyways, today I wanted to bring a very deep topic while I'm in Deep Cove, no pun intended. But truly, this is a deep topic and a personal one for me, as I'm sure it probably is for you too. And it has to do with the stories and the mindset that we walk around with all day long and how they got there. Now, please stay with me. I know you hear a lot about this topic. It's very prevalent on the internet and social media, and everyone talks about mindset. And as they talk about trauma, as they talk about anxiety and mental health, a lot of these issues and topics have become quite ubiquitous out there in the biosphere, if you will. But I want to bring this a little bit more personal, because I think people think that I'm just a talking head up here week to week without any direct experience or knowledge about these things. But I have very deep knowledge and experience around these topics because it's, as I said, they are lived. For instance, in my 20s, I had this huge nagging feeling that somehow I was different, but different not in a good way, that somehow everybody was better than I was, and that I was deeply and seriously flawed. Now, this is a script and a message that I walked around with my entire life up until that point, and it's one that I had to work at my entire adult life. But this message was planted there. We have this ability to encapsulate the messages from our handlers. It's just like how a phonograph or a record player or the vinyl of a record player works. The message or the tune is placed on that piece of plastic and in grooves. And the more you play it, the deeper the grooves happen to be. Not unlike how we have been programmed in our minds and in our hearts and in our souls and in our DNA. Grooves of information have been placed upon us either from our early handlers, like our parents and our immediate family and friends, and out into the bigger world with our peer groups and teachers and educators and so forth. And we seem to pick up beautifully on the negative messages, don't we? The ones that tell us that we're no good, the ones that tell us that we can't, the ones that tell us that we're insignificant and small and can't do the bigger things in life. And we play that message in a loop, and that in turn creates the worldview in which we live and breathe and have our being. And yes, we participate in the bigger things like social media and social media memes and social media posting, and we want to believe that we can live a life of positivity. But don't you find it difficult at times? Don't you find it difficult to actually believe those words, or even worse, live those words? And you might look around you and see, other people seem to be having a much easier time of it, to live a life of positivity, to breathe and live into the words of their vision and to the scenes of their vision. Yet you and me, for the longest time, just couldn't seem to catch fire that way. It's because you're battling yourself. You're battling I would even call the evil of your mind. We see and believe that evil is out there, but the evil lives within us. And you might say, Pamela, that's such a hard word, evil. I'm not an evil person, you may think. And I don't mean evil in the way that you are going to go and cause mass destruction out there to property or to other people. Yet you do see that happening out there. But in the way that I mean evil is that it keeps you back from realizing and actualizing your best self. And this is what Natural Mojo is all about, connecting to that part of yourself that allows you to expand and grow into the fullness of who you were meant to be, who you came into this lifetime to be, and to attach to your purpose. The messaging running through your mind is keeping you from that intent. So what do? Well, one of the first things I did to help myself was I put myself in front of somebody, because mine was very deep-seated. My message that was stuck in me like a sliver, you know how annoying slivers can be when you get it underneath your skin, I needed help pulling it out. And I found myself in therapy because I didn't know anything about how to reprogram myself or to give myself new conditioning. I didn't have that training at that time. Now, if I was, catapulted myself to where I am now and I've learned some things, I would have been able to help myself now in the way that I help other people. But back then, I had nothing. So I had to go with what I had, and it was a therapist. And therapy, I'm not discounting the use of therapists and counselors. Don't get me wrong. Okay, I'll talk more about that after. But so I found myself in front of a therapist, and I talked this thing out for a couple of years, telling him that I thought that I was the worst person on the planet because that thought was placed within me through a family member, and very harshly too, and I believed it because it came from somebody I loved and trusted. So I believed it and I acted upon it, and my life flowed in that way. I kept myself small, I kept myself hidden, and even with some of my best efforts, I'd make some progress and I'd fall back and I'd make some progress, and it just was chaotic and messy and very bumpy to get to where I am today. So anyways, it took some time to shift and move and do reprogramming on a deep level. And I have to tell you, I still work on that to this day. There are times when I still feel I'm not good enough. I still feel that I'm the worst person, but I have tools now that helps me develop that thinking even further. I've learned to pivot my mind. I've learned to pivot. My mind will fall off the new groove and into the old groove because those old grooves run incredibly deep because they've been there for so long. But I've now learned how to switch things up like that. I catch myself like that. I switch myself like that. So for instance, I might fall into a thought of I'm not good enough, or I've made a mistake, and look, you're always making mistakes, something like that. That's a pretty common thought a lot of us have, right? So instantly I hear myself say that because I'm aware, right? So I quickly switch that thinking to, oh, Pamela, I just heard what you said about yourself, and you didn't make a mistake. You didn't fail. You just learned some new information. What do you plan to do with that information? Or you're not the worst person on the planet. You are just being you. You are practicing you. Other people can do what they have to do, but you're just doing you. You are unique unto you. So in essence, all I'm doing is I'm pivoting and switching up my languaging to a place that it's empowering to me. And it takes practice. It takes time to connect and close the gap on what was and what is. And I keep practicing so the middle continues to disappear. Now, when I'm working with people, I'm able to help them speed up the process of this reprogramming even further. And I know some people rebel at the thought of the word reprogramming. But my friend, we are reprogrammed every minute of the day, or programmed every minute of. I'm introducing the thought of taking responsibility for the thoughts that you think, to become aware of them, first of all, through journaling, through conversations with other people, through therapy, through coaching, through mentoring, to hear the thoughts that you think. If you really want to know the thoughts that you think, look at the results of your life. Are they going the way in which you want them to go? Because your thoughts turn into things. Thoughts become things. Again, you've probably heard that, and they are so true. And how do I know that? Because if you think life is hard, if you think life is terrible, if you think everyone's are terrible people, you will look for instances of that, and you will find it. You will always find what you're looking for. So the question is, what do you expect? What are you looking for? Because that's exactly what you will find. And that's another great journaling exercise. What do you expect out of life? What do you expect out of your life? What do you expect to find? Because that's exactly what you will find. One of the things I love about when I come out into the outdoors in these types of places is I give myself a task. I make it into a game. I game it. I say, how many places can I find hearts? I think I talked about this on another video. Or how many of a particular color can I find? Or how many of anything can I find? And I wait. And as my day or my week progresses, you'd be shocked at how many of these things actually come into my sphere of sight. It's an amazing thing. Practice it sometime. You will find what you expect to see. So this is your worldview, and your worldview is shaped by the messages and the programming you've been given early in your life. And most people go to their grave and never actually do the work to change things up. Let's just say you have a beautiful mindset planted based on your upbringing and your early childhood. Wonderful. But maybe you can do some work to sharpen that up. Maybe you can do the work to make those messages your own. Maybe your parents did a wonderful job telling you what a wonderful person you are, and that you are unstoppable and all the wonderful things you can do. But maybe now it's time for you to take the reins, simply because you're an adult and a unique individual, and it's time to put some of this thinking into your hands and steer things your way. What else do you need to put in there? What else would you like to accomplish and expand into? And how would you like your future self to unfold, the next level and version of yourself to unfold? All of these are under your direct control. Most of the time, we hand ourselves over to either distractions or the good opinion of other people or authority figures that have no idea who you are or what you want or what you're all about or what you're capable of. I'm saying that it's time for you to take control of you and start programming who you would like to see unfold in the coming months and days and years ahead, because whether or not, something will unfold. And if you just leave it to other people to do that, guess what? You're taking a chance. You are risking your life in a way, because you feel all you have to do is wake up, put on your shoes, and head out the door, and life is what it is. And then we complain that our lives are not unfolding in the way that we want it to fold. Well, yes, you are just living by default, as most of the people around you are living by default. As long as they've got that phone, they're living by default. Distraction, distraction, distraction. I offer this consideration to you based on what I've gone through and now all the things that I know to do for myself and other people that want to expand into a new vision and version of themselves, is to take control of the person you are becoming, the person that you are constantly being. All right? We live in a world that tells us we have to keep doing. Well, before you do, be, become, take control, reprogram. All right? At the bottom of this video, I have a link to a system that I use in the mornings called Positive Prime, and I'll talk more about that in the days to come. But if you click that link below, it will at least start to explain how to put these wonderful messages into yourself faster than what you're probably doing now, faster than vision boards, faster than affirmations, faster than cue cards, faster than all these things that we have been taught in the past. Use your technology that you're always walking around with to reprogram the life that you wish to see unfold. You know, guys, I don't mean to stand here and preach to you. I'm not a preacher. I'm just a simple woman that have gone through some things and have learned things the hard way. And maybe that was the point. Life wanted me to tumble through in the chaos that I tumbled through in such a way, and to keep holding me up so I can come stand in front of this camera on a beautiful day in Deep Cove, British Columbia, to bring this message of depth and understanding to you. I'm constantly reprogramming myself. I'm not a perfect human being, nor will I ever be. I'm not shooting for perfection. What I'm shooting for is a deep knowledge of confidence and courage and the ability to spiral my life in a certain way. Maybe people might think I'm working magic, that I'm a magician, and I'm not. I just understand something. I know the secret of the ages. And we even learn these things, and then we get distracted away from them. And it's right there in plain sight, hiding in plain sight. This is the biggest secret, hiding in plain sight. This is the good news that the sages and the prophets of old have come to share. But again, we've been distracted away from its power, and even if we find it, and even if we start, we don't stick to it, because those grooves, those old messages are so hardwired into us. And the only way to overcome that is to continually practice day after day after day until you reach mastery, until it kicks in, until it becomes a new thought, a new conversation, a new language, a new way of being. And with that thought, my friends, I leave you for another week of magic, another week of unfolding, another week of becoming. My name's Pamela Sylvan, the Mojo Maker, and again, it's been my pleasure. And I invite you to join me on my website at PamelaSylvan.com, and we'll see you again. Have a beautiful